This is the Mortification of Spin, Bully Pulpit. And I am one half of your hosting team, Todd Pruitt, and I'm joined as always by Carl Trueman.
The Mortification of Spin is a podcast of the Alliance of Confessing Evangelicals. We can only continue with your help. Visit mortificationofspin.org to make a donation or call 1-800-488-1888. On this episode of The Bully Pulpit we find out how mad the world has become, the godless go to church and the bar of marriage falls even lower.
Carl, tell us what's on our mind this evening.
Well, I think this evening, Todd, we want to look at just how mad the world has gone. We've got a couple of stories to discuss, and I'm going to lead off with a real cracker here. I know that you're a big fan of the Huffington Post, so you've read this story already.
Absolutely.
But the Huffington Post leads with this story. Nadine Schweigert, North Dakota woman, marries herself and opens up about self-marriage. And I'll give you some choice quotations here. 36-year-old North Dakota woman who married herself in a commitment ceremony last March has now spoken about her self-marriage choice in an interview with Anderson Cooper. The marriage took place among friends and family who were encouraged to, and I quote, blow kisses to the world after she exchanged rings with her inner groom, my Fox Phoenix reports. I want to feel very empowered, very happy, very joyous. I want to share that with people, and also the people that were in attendance. It's a form of accountability, Nadine Schweigert told Anderson Cooper. 6 years ago, I would have handled a problem by going out and drinking, she said. I smoked. I was 50 pounds overweight. She sounds like a typical Reformed pastor, actually.
Sure.
This is just celebrating how far I've come in my life. The Fargo-based yoga teacher also takes herself on dates to treat herself and to invest in this relationship. I was waiting for someone to come along and make me happy, Schweigert told Inforum. At some point, a friend said, why do you need someone to marry you to be happy? Marry yourself. I think when you read something like that and realize that this is being presented as a serious news story and nobody is using the sentence, this woman is an absolute lunatic, at any point,
right.
I think we have to realize that the world has gone completely mad. But the kicker, of course, is given the shifting of the legal definition of marriage to a mere sentimental bond, one has to ask the question, why not? If marriage has now been evacuated of all meaningful content by no-fault divorce laws as much as anything, what possible grounds for objecting to this absolute nonsense can we have?
Right. It doesn't seem to me like we have any objective grounds to object.
No. I mean, what worries me, of course, is I'm a cynic and a pessimist. I feel it's going to end in divorce. You know, who's going to get custody of the remote control? Who's going to get the dog? Right. Who's going to, what happens if her inner groom wants to hang a painting of poker-playing dogs on the wall? What's she going to do? It has all the potential of being a woeful mess.
Yeah. I'm concerned about her inner groom because I just have a feeling he's going to tire of her very, very quickly. That's just my guess, but...
Once the initial frisson of physical attraction is gone, what is left?
Right, exactly. But clearly. Yeah, and clearly evidence that we're crumbling from within. So, we just continue to march on, and we're just here to sound the alarm and poke a little fun at the decay.
Yeah, and the question is, how long can society go on with this kind of madness being presented as
something that's viable.
As viable human behavior. It's completely bizarre.
Right. It would have been openly mocked 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now
we are openly mocking it, actually, Tom.
You and I are openly mocking it while others are saying, that's not a bad idea.
I'm sure that the Gospel Coalition will be earnestly outraged about it. And
Yeah, I don't want to get in any trouble, so it's true. Well, to add to this, Carl, okay, so we have women marrying their inner groom. We've also come across a story about, the story is entitled Sunday Assembly, a Godless Service Coming to a Church Near You. It's an article written by Susan Donaldson James, and it is about a new atheist church, if you will. And it's, in many ways, again, it's one of those stories that reading it lightly causes one to chuckle and roll your eyes. But this story also has a couple of good insights, as well as some things that made me sad. But the man's name is Sanderson Jones, grew up in according to the story, a religious British family. His mother died when he was only 10. He said that was obviously a very, very deep and cataclysmic loss. But he said it's like he lost her twice, once when she died and once when he realized there was no heaven.
Yeah.
And so he felt like he lost her twice. And goes on to explain the fact that he saw churches having fun and dancing and singing and clapping and having joy. And he thought, well, atheists ought to be able to have the same kinds of experiences. And atheists need more music, I guess, was his conclusion. And so they began this group. They have these gatherings, and they're largely intellectual, he says, but they also apparently try to have some real fun. And I think no big surprise here. He's also a stand-up comedian, which I'm sure helps. I wonder, is this a development that's going to catch on, do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it witnesses to a couple of interesting things. I mean, one, very clearly, even though this man's an atheist, he realizes that there is more to life than his own individuality. He's not likely to be marrying himself anytime soon, I would guess. He talks using the language of transcendence. He clearly understands that religious community brings something, enriches human life in some way, that human beings need something beyond themselves to worship, if you like. I mean, in his context, it seems to be community and connectedness. So I would say that is quite an interesting development. Whether it will catch on, I don't know, because it would seem to me there are better ways of getting this, right, if you wish to be an atheist.
Right. It's interesting. He makes this comment. He says, we talk about developing an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
But I wonder, and you might need to help me on who first made this observation, but someone made the observation that it's a dangerous place for an atheist to be grateful, because then they have to figure out who to thank.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that that's consistent. So developing an attitude of gratitude. Well, to what?
Yeah.
What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful to?
I think here you're caught in the dilemma that Nietzsche points out in The Gay Science, where the madman runs into the town square to attack not the Christians, but the polite atheists who want to have all of that ethical, civilized capital that religion brings them without having God. And the madman points out, no, you've got to realize that you're staring into the vortex of oblivion. Yeah. Live as Superman, if you like. Live as those who realize the bleak desperation that you have brought upon the world by slaying God. And you read this and it strikes me as it's a wonderfully chirpy, cheerful, middle-class, polite, Richard Dawkins-y kind of atheist. I mean, Dawkins likes the Book of Common Prayer. He likes it because he can go to church and have the aesthetic pleasure of being connected, presumably. Be a man.
Right.
Face up to the reality of the meaninglessness that you have brought upon the world.
Yeah. And this guy Sanderson makes an interesting comment, because he cannot help but use transcendent language. He says we wanted to do something like a church for people who don't believe in God. And he goes on and he says, life is such a wonderful thing to have been given.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't even escape the language.
It's Romans 1. Poker tells throughout that this is a man who's ultimately, dependent upon something greater than himself that he himself acknowledges in a way only then to deny. Mm-hmm. Well, this has been a Mortification of Spin, Bully Pulpit. We hope that we've looked at some of the absurdities of modern life. If there's anybody out there who's considering marrying themselves, don't. It's a life sentence. It will only end in tears. And if you're thinking of attending an atheist church, don't. Attend a church where the people actually believe in something, and when they develop an attitude of gratitude, they're actually grateful to someone. Please visit our website, mortificationofspin.org. We are a ministry of the Alliance of Confessing Evangelicals. I've been your host, Carl Trueman. Been delighted to be here with my friend Todd Pruitt, and we look forward to being with you next time. Thanks for joining us.
The world is a crazy place, but God has given it to us, including marriage. I've got a free message I'd like to give you entitled The First Wedding. Marriage is the institution that all other institutions come, and therefore it's critically important. Visit mortificationofspin.org or call 1-800-488-1888 to download The First Wedding. Again, it's a free message entitled The First Wedding. Visit mortificationofspin.org or call 1-800-488-1888. Mortification of Spin is from the Alliance of Confessing Evangelicals. Alliance ministries include Reformation21.org, the Bible Study Hour, and events held nationwide. To learn more about the Alliance, visit alliancenet.org or call 1-800-488-1888. We can only continue with your support. Please visit mortificationofspin.org or call 1-800-488-1888 to make a donation. That's mortificationofspin.org or call 1-800-488-1888 to make a donation. And please join us next time for the Mortification of Spin.